Shalom, family. Shalom. Glory be to God and blessed be the Lamb forever and ever. I know that sometimes I cry, but you don't know what I cry for. I don't cry because of sadness. I don't cry because of the things I've lost. No. I don't cry over how I've been hurt. I don't cry over the pain and suffering and misery that I've caused others. I cry over none of those things. Those things that I caused, I own those. I meant them. I meant the misery. I meant the suffering. I meant the death. No reason for me to be sorry or sad or cry. No, I cry at two things: the wonderment of God and you. And you. See, God, man, he's something else. I lost everything twice. Twice. I lost everything, built everything back up, and lost it again, all twice within a 6-year cycle. 5 years, really. The 6th year was just a waste of time trying to hold on to shit that I already understood I would eventually lose. Hindsight is always 20/20. Looking back, I should have sold all that shit right off the button. But that's neither here or there. I cry because what God gave me in return. And I couldn't see it at first. I couldn't see it at first. The power is nothing. Not to me. The power that I wield is nothing more than a tool. A tool. Not unlike a hammer, a saw, a screwdriver. It's a tool. Nothing more than that. If you read anything more than that into it, then you're out of line, and you'll be wrong. No, I cry because I'm quite aware of the impossibility of what's happening here worldwide. I woke up one damn morning and I turned on the TV. I think I was watching CNN or something. And here was the North Koreans, I think, military marching in the formation of a cross. That's when I knew. That's when I knew what had been given. And then it kept coming and kept coming. And then there was 1,000, and then there was 10,000, and then there was 1,000,000, and then it's just overwhelming. You are overwhelming. I keep telling you that for me, you're like a huge battery. Your faith is like a battery, an energy source. Okay? It's like a battery, a very strong one. Very strong. But anyway, that ain't really what I want to talk about. Man, what is it about these people who want to kill people? I mean, can't nobody kill, trust me, not even the devil can kill or be more efficient at it than I would be. Trust me. There's not a being alive that's more efficient in dealing out death and misery and suffering than us. Okay? Excuse me. Now, let's not get too far off the beaten path, though. Excuse me. But I'm trying to understand something about the system of justice and how it really operates here. I mean, I really don't know how it operates here. It's like everybody is in agreement, no matter how fucked up it is, or no matter how it is exposed. You hear arguments like, it's the only system we've got. You make that argument, but I can't help but notice that when there are mistakes made at the receiving end of things, is the black man. I can't help but notice that. So the black man is meant to absorb your mistakes. Your mistakes, even if it costs them their lives. They should understand that under the system we have, and it's the only one we got, and it's the best one we got, that from time to time they have to make the sacrifice with their life. Is that what you're trying to say, that they should understand? Because you're not saying it the right way. Maybe that's why they're not getting it. Maybe that's it. Maybe you should be a little more straightforward. But you won't do that because you're a coward. But that's exactly what you're saying. That from time to time, black men and all that is involved with them have to take the blade for living in your fantasy. And what is this fantasy anyway? I mean, you live in this world that you act as though you live in a post-racist, racially egalitarian, equal society. That's where you act like you live. I think that you can do that because you don't live within the confines and the boundaries set by your own rules of order and your sociological order of things, and there are no consequences for you thinking this way. Therefore, no matter what you do, it is never perceived as outside of the norm or racist. Case in point. Young man up in Alabama set for execution. This is where it's hard not to look at you as if though you have forgotten who you are. You do know who you are, right? You do know who you are. And it shows. So here's a man that is accused of stabbing a white woman, a news reporter, up in Alabama, or Missouri, I think. One or the other. Excuse me. I think Missouri. During a burglary attempt in 1998 at her home, where her and her lovely husband were sleeping. There is no forensic evidence tying him to the crime or the crime scene. That tells me, and you have to understand, right now I have my legal hat on. I got about 6,000 hours of legal experience in the state's courts and in the federal courts. So I feel like I can speak on this. Now, let's get the scenario straight. He's convicted of murder, gets the death penalty for taking the life of a woman inside of her home or outside of her home. Within any rate, there was 2 felonies committed at once. That is what made him eligible for the death penalty. The first felony was the breaking and the entry of a habitation. The second felony The second felony happened in commission of the first felony, which led to murder, the second crime. Thereby, he is eligible for the death penalty in that state and in most states, including Texas. Would I be right? I don't answer. I'm sure I am. You would think that I'm anti-death penalty. I'm not. I'm a man of God. I believe in an eye for an eye, a tooth for tooth, and limb for limb, and life for life. Just like that. So I'm not anti-death penalty. I'm anti-death penalty at your hands. At your hands. Because you act as though you're not what you are. You act as though you haven't done what you've already done. You act as though your history vis-a-vis black men does not exist, and that we're here in some kind of voluntary order of things, but we're not, and we haven't agreed to be or do anything ever. Everything the black man has and will do in this country has been by force of your hands, or your system, or your policy. Every decision in his life. Hands down. All his life. From cradle unto grave. From cradle to grave. But you act as though that's not the case. You act as though you don't go out of your way to make policies that specifically target black men. Specifically. You act as though you don't do that. You act as though you don't gun black men down in America at least once every other week. Unarmed, in every city in America. You act like that doesn't happen. You act like that doesn't make you look bad. It doesn't make you look shameful. Are you shameless? Or are you one of those people that shameless be? Because I know shameless people. Just totally shameless. And they don't give a fuck how they look, well, how you think about them, how the world views them. They just feel absolutely nothing. And that's you too. Listen, let's clear something up. You hate black men. Overall, okay? Overall, not all, but generally speaking, the white man hates black men. Generally speaking. Everybody knows this, but everybody acts as if that's not the case. But why does he hate black men? What has the black man done to him? His hatred is so intense that you would think that it was the black man who drug his ass over here and enslaved him, and he just happened to get away, and he became the government. And now he's just angry. But that's not the case. That's not the case. Not at all. So you act as though you live in a post-racist society. Let me tell you something, white man. You will always be racist. Overall. Some shit gets in get in your bone marrow. It becomes genetic. At this point, racism for you is genetic. I'll tell you something about Mother Nature. If you keep doing something in repetition, then Mother Nature makes it genetic. So your offspring are born having this trait. Having this trait. It's no other different than you using a certain type of poison on a certain insect. But the next generation of that insect is impervious to the very same poison. Viruses do it, bacteria do it, and you do it. And you do it. So, let's get back to the specific case, though. He's found guilty by a jury of your peers. Of your peers. Let me clear something out. Me and a white man will never be peers. If I am to be judged by a jury of my peers, they should be people of my socio-economic class. Let me repeat that. My peers would exist in the same socio-economic class. So my boys out the hood should be sitting on the jury, but they won't be sitting on the jury, will they? Nope, they won't be there. It will be some people who think like you there, who look like you there, believe like you there, raised like you there. That's what will be there. And you still don't get it, huh? You still don't know to get it. So let's move away from the scene of the crime and the conviction. There's an appeal. During this appeal process, it uncovers evidence of this man's innocence. Not only that, it shows that you have no evidence at all putting him at the scene of the crime. None. Zero. So, with that in mind, let's start with the officers on the street. Let's start with them, or the detective. One scenario is that they had an idea of who they were looking for. That would be the detectives. Okay? On the other hand, here's the patrolman after the scene of the crime. And he's driving down the street, and there's a young man who, he's black, and he fit the description, but they all, well, we look the same to you, I would presume. At least that's what you used to say. However, he ends up in jail. Either way, it has been proven it was impossible that he did it. So what is your reasoning for going on with the execution? Now, on appeal, it was overturned, and the prosecution office agreed that it should be overturned and that it should be vacated. That the ruling and finding of guilt should be vacated. The judge agrees. The judge then, he gets a phone call from the Attorney General. This when politics start to play an part in a man's life. That's got nothing to do with him. Nothing to do with him. What is the function of the Attorney General in a state? In a murder case? Zero. Except politics. Zero function exists at the state level for the Attorney General to be involved in a fucking murder case. Except politics. Good old boy shit. Owe me a favor stuff. How it's gonna look. How it's gonna look if you do this. How's it gonna look? Don't you owe me a favor? Well, then we just can't let this cat go. And this ain't the first time we have seen this. That's not the first time. So y'all keep getting mixed up in the different faces and different names, but actually it's the same shit. It's the same type of attitude that allowed the murderer of Elijah McClain to walk free after being given, 15 years? For injecting ketamine into someone. Someone walking down the street, hadn't done nothing wrong, minding their own business, ended up in a goddamn scuffle. I mean, imagine 3 grown-ass men fighting, in a scuffle with a young man that looked like he's all of 120 pounds. To the point that the EMT decides he's qualified enough to inject him with a drug that ends up taking his life. Then they all stood their ass around as if they didn't know what to do next, just like they always do. Once again. So a year into his sentence, he's released, and what did the judge say? Some more the gibbly goddamn gook. See, it's the same mindset. That's my point. That's my point. It's starting to look like it's a slow motion genocide against black men. It's a funny thing though, I've been saying that shit for fucking 20 years and no one listens. But I'm not the me I was 20 years ago. Now you will listen. If it don't cost you your damn life. Like I said earlier, I believe in an eye for an eye, a tooth for tooth, life for life. And not just for you, but your children and your wife and your grandchildren and their grandchildren. Something's wrong with you. Something is seriously wrong with you. And you need to find Jesus. No, don't go find that guy. He gonna lead you astray. You need to fix yourself. So under political pressure, and you can't call it anything else, if this judge has already made his decision and on a phone call from the AG's office, he has reversed his own decision without explanation. And now someone dies. So would I be wrong if I said that he should die too? That the AG should die? Is that some type of a terroristic threat or something? Who's the real terrorist here? Who's the criminal here? Would I be wrong? I don't feel like I'm wrong because I'm not wrong. God would find it on point. But the problem is this. You act as though we don't have a history with you. We have a long and sordid history with you of murder, rape, slavery, abuse, genocide, blacklisted, black laws, Jim Crow, racism up until this day, redlining, and you still act as though you have the ability to judge us fairly without none of that coming into play in your psychological thinking, or your emotional thought process. None of this comes into play. We know that that is a lie. That's why I say so now black men are made to support you because you is crazy in your damn head. And you must see yourself as this malevolent force on the world stage that would never hurt anyone, that's justicable and fair, and America is the greatest place, and it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. No, you are a country of killers, rapists, murderers, and liars. You've always been that. You've always been this. Okay? It's time to come to grips with some shit. Do I have to go down the list of crimes that you have already committed? I don't, do I? I don't. And what's the outcome? The outcome is this. You're on the chopping block now. You on the chopping block. Okay? And it's going to piss you off. And I wouldn't let it give a damn. Be careful. That's all I'm going to tell you. Be careful. Okay? At some point, a line has to be drawn. At some point, a line has to be drawn. Okay? We at this point now that the rest of society sits back and just watch us murdered. Just watch us murdered. I don't see no marches. I don't see the black leadership in Missouri saying a damn word. And where the hell is your black leadership at the federal level as they shoot us down like dogs and murderers? Now they own, even murder our women and walk away. Get away with it. That's okay, though, because we got plans. We have plans, okay? Just like we've had plans for everything else. But you, sir, you, Attorney General of Missouri, you're in the crosshairs. The judge who reversed his own ruling, you too are in the crosshairs. And not just you. Not just you. Okay? Not just you. So be careful. Be careful. That's all I'm not going to spend a bunch of time lingering on it, but you need to be careful. You're not allowed to just murder us openly. First, you murder us by the rope. Then you murder us by the blade. Then you murder us by the food supply. And then you murder us by the lack of water. And then you murder us by stressing us out, due to lack of housing, hunger, starvation, the disease, all of this brought by your damn hands. Your hands. And there seems like there's no end to you. But I will tell you this, sir. Even the demon knows that their time has been cut short. Even the demon knows that their time is short, sir. So is yours. Short. And you have to get used to their punishment was meant to be 400 years. I think we're somewhere in the neighborhood of 400 plus 4 years. And you've gotten so spoiled at whatever you get from doing what you do to them, you are like a fucking addict. You can't get enough of what you're doing. You get something out of it. You have to be getting something out of it. I'm not gonna go with no theories because you wouldn't like it. But here's what has already been proven. You are threatened by black men. Period. You have went out of your way. Well, this is what happens when you watch other men 300-400 years who are bigger than you, stronger than you, smarter than you, faster than you, and quite frankly, sir, more sexier than you. That's besides the point. It has a psychological effect on you as the master, on the master's wife, as well as the master's child. What you thought, that they was the only one in slavery? No, slavery enslaves your ass. Can't you tell? Can't you see how you cannot stop? Can't you see how you cannot stop doing the exact same thing that you were doing on the plantation? It's because slavery has enslaved you. You're too stupid to see it. You can't stop. So, because of this, we have elected to kill most of you. I'm just being straight. See, I wasn't going to get like this, and I'm not like this. I'm real calm, and I'm having a sip of cold water. I'm not going to drive my blood pressure up. Over the next week or so, you'll just weigh heavy on my mind, and I'll start to calculating quite coldly of how we're going to deal with the state of Missouri. And you, sir, should know that we are everywhere. There's no escaping us, not even if they call you judge. That's what you're going to find out. It's a shame that I have to prove this again. Listen, idiots, you're nowhere safe on this planet. Not even hiding inside the rocks, we will still find you. The rocks themselves would give you up. You're not safe anywhere. But that's neither here or there. The point I'm trying to make is the days of you wantonly killing us because you can, and no one will stop you and you are a part of the dominant society, and that the rest of society will say absolutely nothing, well, those days are coming to an end. At some point, sir and sirs and missus, it will become an eye for an eye, literally, a tooth for tooth, limb for limb, and life for life. That's where all of this is going, because it can't go nowhere else. It can't go nowhere else. It can't go nowhere else because we have decided enough of you. This is where it stops. It can't go anywhere else. It can't go anywhere else. So the question becomes, will we be killing you now or later? Now or later. I know these sounds like brash and haughty words coming from such a humble man as myself. Okay? But you should not ignore these words. You don't want to do that. Do I expect anything from you? No. I expect for you to be the monster that you've always been, who has the incapability of doing anything righteous. That's all I expect from you. I expect from you to continuously do what you've always done until we have stopped you. That's what I expect from you. No more than that. No more than that. So don't get in your mind that I am asking you or need you for anything. Our decision has been undertaken. You mostly did do that for us. You justify your own shit. Now I reckon that in the morning or 9 o'clock or by noon, I'll hear something justifying why you feel like this execution should go forward, because that's your normal fucking pattern when I make these threats. You hurry up and you switch it up and you say some different shit. That's what you normally do. But that's because you're cowards. But you lived in a world of cowards, a nation of cowards. So you fit right in. You fit right in. Knowing you never have to answer to anyone, that makes you think that you're powerful. But this time you will be answering, sir. You will be answering. Okay? These are not threats at all. I don't make threats. Ask anyone. I say what I'm gonna do, and then I do it. I've never made a threat in my life. This is a warning, not threat. And I've already said I expect nothing from you. At this point, you are so taken over by whatever has taken you over that there is no recompense. There is no return for you. And don't forget who you are. You should think from now on, from that standpoint, as to who you are and what you have done in this world that don't belong to you. And you most definitely ain't God. And there's not an ounce of fear of you left. You've made yourselves killable. You do realize that, right? You've made yourselves killable by justifiable homicide. Justifiable homicide. You are making this a situation that either we die or you die, sir. A zero-sum game. We die or you die. Have you really, have you crunched the numbers on this? Because I have. I have crunched the numbers, and no one can crunch numbers better than me. Not about stuff like this. After a good crunching of the numbers, you lose. You lose. You know why you lose? Because of a variable. You lose because of a couple of variables. Variable one, You are dealing with a man that has about 5,000 years of rage pent up inside him. That'd be the first variable. Variable number two is that you have corrupted yourself beyond your fighting ability. You get what I'm saying? You have corrupted yourself beyond your fighting ability. Here's what I'm trying to say. An example. I love examples. I love examples. And this one is fitting. This fits perfectly biblical. The black man that was back in them days called Israel had enough of them damn Canaanites. That scourge of the planet, the Canaanites. You wouldn't want them as your neighbor at all. You know, if Jesus, what you would think of as Jesus, would call a Canaanite woman a dog, then you know that they must have did something that man pissed him off pretty damn bad and was pretty damn vile, because he called her a dog. But when it's funny how when you extrapolate that verse and now I'm not gonna do it because people gonna get mad at me. But listen, 400 years. The black man has been under your authority in bondage in this country for 400 plus years. Remember that number now. 400 years. Now, the house of Israel had enough of the nation of Canaan with their nasty ass ways, disrespectful, vile, I mean, you name it, and they just really didn't have a will to live. They had no right to be alive. You know, they were like a lot of people today. They like the Addams family. They do what they want to do, eat what they want to eat, say what they want to say, hurt who they want to hurt. That kind of party. That type of party. So the house of Israel had went to God, to the Creator, and shortly said, you know what, these them Canaanites, we need you to bless this war, because we finna, tear us some Canaanite ass up. We tired of them. They won't stay on their own land. They keep fucking with our men and our daughters and our kids. Our kids so goddamn stupid that they going over there, taking on their ways and their values and how they other think. So we finna kill these some bitches. And God say, wait. You can kill them, but not just right now. I need you to wait. And then they waited. And they waited. They waited for 400 years, people. They had forgot. They had went to their graves and rebirthed and went to telling stories as if it was a myth. And then one day, God said, hey, it's time. I made your fathers a promise. It's time to go and whoop us some Canaanite ass. Y'all ready? Well, they killed up the whole country. Every man, woman, child, dog, donkey, burnt the vineyards and ripped up the gardens, and they burnt down all of the teepee huts and houses. Wiped them out. Now fast forward 400 years again. What you think gonna happen to you? What you think gonna happen to you? I know in your head you are the great and mighty eagle, the big red, white, and blue, but you're not really that. No, enough symbolism. You're not that. You ain't never been that. You've never had a puritanical, era in your history. You've never had a real civil rights era in your history. You're not very enlightened at all. And you barely have a workable governing system, and you don't even have a real culture. You don't. You don't have a cultural dance, a cultural language, a cultural food. You simply is cultureless. But again, that's neither here or there. What do you think is going to happen to you? You don't have to think too hard because I'm going to help you out. I'm going to help you out. We are spiraling towards a situation that there's no way out for you. You've lost all credibility, all of it. Where ain't you lying at? You lying all over the world, and you're murdering all over the world as I speak, and you're murdering in your own homeland. Homeland. What a sick term to be using in reference to America. It's America. Man, this ain't your damn homeland. This stolen property. How you steal somebody? Your homeland is Europe. Don't forget. Europe. I've been there. It's a nice enough place. Probably you should go back and bolster the numbers. Damn. You're from Europe. You are an immigrant. I know you don't want to hear this either. You don't want to hear this. The dominant race puts a lot of stock in saying this is a nation of immigrants until you start to calling them immigrants. If you think I'm lying, start doing it. They're not used to that as the dominant society. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that all this wanton death and destruction, and there's no one to stop you. There's no comeuppance. There's no pushback, and there's nothing that any man can do about it. Well, you're not dealing with man anymore. You're dealing with us, and we can do something about it. We can do something about you, your county, your city councilors and councilwomen, your boards, your militaries. You see what I'm trying to say? You see what I'm trying to say? So you do as you will, but understand. You're on the radar. At this point, actually, it barely makes it, man. Let me be quiet, because, see, I don't want to stop nothing, and I don't want to cause anything either. I want you to be free to be you, so I don't want to influence anything. And with that being said, gentlemen of Missouri, enjoy the rest of your night, as I will mine. This has been Source. We are 7. We are 1. Peace, family.